Breaking news overnight, a U.S. crew member missing in Iran, rescued by U.S. forces. The weapons systems officer was unaccounted for Friday when his F-15 fighter jet was shot down over a remote area nearly 300 miles south of Tehran. The race between American and Iranian officials to locate that service member.
F-15E in Iran was rescued by special forces Sunday morning local time, according to multiple U.S. officials. The second crew member, a weapons systems officer, was one of two people on board. Both airmen ejected. U.S. officials said the pilot of that aircraft was rescued Friday, a short time after Iranian forces downed the aircraft over western Iran.
Good morning and welcome back. Well, the US has successfully rescued a second pilot who was in a fighter jet downed by Iran over the weekend.
President Donald Trump announced we got him, adding that while the aviator sustained injuries, he was safe and sound. Iran had sought to capture the American on their own soil, prompting the US to launch a daring search and rescue mission.
And for more on this,
a United States fighter jet was shot down inside Iran, creating one of the most serious moments in the ongoing conflict between the two countries. The aircraft was an F-15E Strike Eagle, a powerful combat jet used for deep strike missions. It went down during active operations, making this the first confirmed case in this conflict where a U.S. crewed fighter jet was lost over Iranian territory. The situation quickly became urgent as attention shifted from the crash itself to the fate of the two crew members on board. Shortly after the crash, one crew member was found and rescued. However, the second crew member remained missing, raising immediate concern among U.S. military officials. The missing airman was believed to have ejected safely, but landed in a dangerous area deep inside Iran. This created a race against time as both U.S. forces and Iranian authorities began searching for him. The risk was extremely high, as capture by Iranian forces could have led to a major international crisis. The United States quickly launched a large-scale search and rescue operation. This mission included drones, surveillance aircraft, and special operations forces trained for high-risk recovery missions. These teams had to operate in hostile territory, where they faced the constant threat of detection and attack. The operation required careful coordination, as every movement could be tracked by Iranian defenses. The goal was clear: locate the missing airman and bring him back safely before he could be captured. At the same time, Iranian authorities also began their own search efforts. Reports indicated that local forces were deployed to find the missing crew member. In some cases, civilians were reportedly encouraged to report any sightings. This increased the danger for the downed airman, as it reduced his chances of staying hidden. The situation became a tense game of survival, where the airman had to avoid detection while waiting for rescue. As the search entered its second day, the operation grew even more intense. The missing crew member was believed to be moving through difficult terrain, trying to evade capture. He had limited resources and was likely injured from the ejection and landing. Despite these challenges, he managed to stay out of reach of Iranian forces. His survival depended on training, communication, equipment, and the ability to remain hidden in a hostile environment. Meanwhile, the broader conflict between the United States and Iran continued to escalate. Airstrikes and missile attacks were reported in multiple areas across the region. Military activity increased, and tensions rose sharply. The situation around the Strait of Hormuz remained especially sensitive, as it is a critical route for global oil shipments. Any disruption in this area could have major economic consequences worldwide. Political pressure also increased during this time. U.S. leadership made strong statements warning of serious consequences if the situation escalated further. There were concerns that the downing of the jet and the search for the missing crew member could trigger a wider conflict. At the same time, Iran signaled that it was prepared to respond to any further military actions. This created a highly unstable situation where both sides were on high alert. The missing airman situation became a symbol of the larger conflict. His survival and rescue were not just military objectives, but also political priorities. A successful rescue would demonstrate the capability and reach of U.S. forces. On the other hand, if he were captured, it could have been used as leverage in the conflict. This added even more urgency to the mission. After hours of searching and careful planning, U.S. forces finally located the missing crew member. The rescue operation was carried out under extremely dangerous conditions. Special operations teams moved into position while aircraft provided support from above. The mission had to be executed quickly and precisely to avoid detection and minimize risk. The rescue itself was intense and complex. The airman was found alive, but injured. He had managed to evade capture for an extended period despite the difficult terrain and constant threat from enemy forces. Once located, he was secured and quickly transported out of the area. The operation involved multiple units working together, highlighting the scale and coordination required for such missions. Hundreds of personnel were involved in the overall rescue effort. From intelligence teams tracking movements to pilots providing aerial support, every part of the operation played a critical role. The success of the mission showed the level of preparation and capability of U.S. forces in high-risk environments. It also demonstrated the importance of training and coordination in such dangerous situations. Following the rescue, U.S. officials described the operation as a success. The safe recovery of the second crew member was seen as a major achievement, especially given the challenges involved. However, the situation remained tense as the broader conflict continued. The incident did not reduce tensions, but instead highlighted how quickly events could escalate. Iran, on the other hand, presented a different view of the situation. Officials claimed that their forces had caused damage to U.S. operations and emphasized their role in the events. This difference in narratives reflects the ongoing information battle between the two sides. Each side is trying to shape how the event is understood by the world. The downing of the F-15E and the rescue of its crew underline the risks involved in modern conflicts. Even a single incident can quickly grow into a major crisis. The presence of advanced weapons, high-speed aircraft, and complex defense systems increases the chances of escalation. In this case, what began as a military operation turned into an international emergency within hours. The incident also highlights the importance of search and rescue missions in military operations. These missions are among the most dangerous, as they often require forces to enter hostile territory with limited support. The success of such missions depends on speed, accuracy, and coordination. In this case, all these elements came together to achieve the objective. At the same time, the situation shows how fragile the current environment is. With multiple countries involved in ongoing military actions, the risk of further escalation remains high. The events surrounding the downed jet are a reminder that even a single moment can have wide-reaching consequences. As of now, both crew members have been recovered and the immediate crisis has passed. However, the larger conflict continues and tensions remain high. The focus now shifts to what happens next as both sides consider their next moves. The world continues to watch closely as the situation remains unpredictable. In the end, the rescue of the second crew member stands as one of the most intense and dangerous operations of the conflict so far. It shows both the risks and the capabilities involved in modern warfare. At the same time, it serves as a warning of how quickly situations can escalate and how difficult it is to control events once they begin. This incident is not just about a downed aircraft or a rescue mission. It is a clear example of the larger tensions shaping the region. Every action, every decision, and every response carries weight. And as this situation has shown, even a single event can bring the world closer to a much bigger conflict.